In the hit movie Obsession, there's a man who is obsessed with the woman he likes. All he does is think about her, all he does is talk about her, and he can't get her off his mind. In the realm of YouTube, the man is Nerdrotic, and the woman, movies he claims to hate. So the Odyssey recently released, and there's been a lot of discourse about it because there was some controversy or outrage, all manufactured of course, around, let's be real, just the casting. Just the casting is what people made a big deal about. You know, they claimed that the movie was woke and stuff because of it, or like the plot was gonna be, it wasn't. As someone who watched it, the movie is in no way woke. As some want to claim it is. They're looking strictly at a casting of like a few characters who have a combined like 5 minutes of screen time maybe. That really, you know, it doesn't really make much of a difference to the movie because they're not like the biggest major characters in the movie. And since that the casting has kind of been released, there have been just dudes on the internet who are crying about it. Just slop YouTubers that are, this movie's bad, this movie's gonna flop, it's woke, it's this, it's that, the other. Just a lot of crying over nothing. They, you know, without even seeing the movie, without even knowing really the full movie in detail, they're just whining over nothing and just making claims that are not necessarily true. So there is this YouTuber by the name of Nerdrotic who makes movie reviews or talks about movies and movie news and stuff. And the thing is, he's kind of in that realm of people who just post negative stuff, like they don't like literally anything. And that's really all this guy posts, pretty much. There's like the exception of a few things he likes that he'll talk about for a little bit, but it's mostly just weeks and weeks and weeks and months of just, here's this movie that's coming out, here's me complaining about it. And even when the movie comes out, he just still yaps about it. And I'm going to use more recent examples of it, but it goes way back. And that would be Supergirl and the Odyssey. Now, with Supergirl, I mean, these reviews, like these videos go back months of just, oh, this is gonna flop, it's gone woke, James Gunn is a disaster, DCU, and it's just a lot of yapping about nothing. And all he does is cry and whine about, you know, stuff coming out about Supergirl and how he thinks it's gonna flop, and just a bunch of nonsense, just a bunch of slob that he posts and yaps about, you know, and just insulting the actress's appearance. Even you can see in the thumbnails, which, you know, when he posted his review, he brought up like, yeah, you know, I almost feel sorry for her because the cinematography of the movie does her no favors.
To the cinematographer who did Millie Alcock no favors. Forget what's happening to her online right now. The worst enemy of Millie Alcock is Rob Hardy, which is really inexplicable because this is the guy who shot Ex Machina, Annihilation, and Mission Impossible Fallout. Millie Alcock looks awful in this film, and I almost feel bad for her because, man, the camera is not her friend in this.
He mentions like the online discourse and, you know, the internet making fun of her. The thing is, you don't feel sorry about it because you are part of that. You are part of the making fun of her. Whether it's in your videos or even in the thumbnails where you're posting slop like this, you don't care. You're a douchebag for this. In his review, he also talks about how it's like feminist nonsense, and it's not. It's really not. As I personally liked the movie. I know he didn't, and I know it's sort of mixed. I personally liked it. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't like the best thing ever. It was fine. The thing is, he claims to hate it, and he claims to hate it so much so he's got to make every video about it, about how it's a flop, how it's the end of the DCU, how bad the movie is. Thing is, if you're a normal, rational person, what you would do is you'd go, hey, I didn't like the movie, and explain why you didn't like it. Be truthful about it. Don't just, you know, be like, oh, man, feminism, blah, blah, okay. Just say you don't like it and you move on. But Gary can't do that. He's got to talk about for like months and months on end until the next big thing comes out. It's woke. It's feminist. It's this. It's that. It flops because, bah. And it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're a grown man. Like, you're a grown man who can vote.
You know you're a grown man, right? Probably shave, pay taxes, have pubic hair. All of those things.
And this is what you're whining about. Like, no, that's not to say that movies can't be critiqued or like that nothing is beyond criticism, or like just because it's a comic book movie, it can't be criticized or whatever. That's not it. Again, critique it all you want. It's definitely worthy of criticism because again, it's not like amazing. You know, I have my issues with it, but to whine this much about it, to make video after video after video about it, and bring up some like made up controversy or something with it because you don't like it. God, you're acting like you act like a child. And yeah, it underperformed. It flopped. Okay, you can bring that up, but then like that's about that's it. Just bring it up and that's it. You bring it up. It's okay to talk about how it didn't make enough money, but it's like video after video of Supergirl flop. Is this the end of the DCU? The DCU's over. Wokeism loses again. Go woke, go broke. And it's crap. It's crap like that. It's like, good lord, dude, freaking. Find like a new hobby or something. Like you're obnoxious about it. That's the thing about it, is like he needed this to. He wanted to flop. He needed to flop.
When we were enjoying the failure of Supergirl,
Because if not, then his whining and his crying about this movie, everything he claims about the movie, he's got to like backtrack and go, all right, guys, I was wrong, I messed up, whatever. And he doesn't like to admit that he's wrong. He's one of those people that are like, he'll double down before he admits he's wrong. And so even like weeks to months after Supergirl's release, it's still going up until the next movie I'm going to talk about, The Odyssey. Now, I actually recently watched The Odyssey, and I think it's a phenomenal movie, very well made, but it has been under some scrutiny because of some casting choices, which is kind of really the only controversial thing about it. Like, that's really all that you can really say about it. It's just like, okay, some questionable casting choices, that's it, move on. They're not like recasting it after the fact or no. They made their choice, they're sticking with it, and it's whatever. But not to Gary. No, that's got to be the whole thing. That's got to be the whole thing. That casting choice ruined the movie entirely. The casting choice of some minor characters ruined the movie entirely. It is all woke. It's all bad. It's gonna flop. It's evil. Burn Christopher Nolan at the stake. No, like, come on. Am I like? Do I think it was the best casting choices? I would say you could probably find better, but I'm not going on the internet and wanting the movie to do as poorly as people want it to do simply because of it. So he gets on there, he does the same thing he does with Supergirl, where it's video after video after video of like woke Nolan and the movie's gonna flop and posting just like the worst thumbnails with like the least flattering pictures and stuff for characters that are barely in it. And even in his review, the review itself even mentioned that like they're in it so little it doesn't make much of a difference. But that's really like all his controversy is about. And what do you do when the controversy is so minuscule and your issues with it are so minuscule that it doesn't make you you don't have much to talk about? Oh, you complain about something else. What did he complain about? The lack of Greek people in it. Like, no, I'm not saying you can't cast Greek actors or anything. No, like, even stuff that he recommended. He brings up, like, I went to watch Ulysses, the 1954 movie about, like, the Odyssey or whatever. He's like, I recommend watching that because that one's better. Except, one of your main points that you brought up kind of goes out the window because none of that cast was Greek. It was all Americans and Italians playing Greek people. Like, again, you gotta make up your own issues to cry about and whine about. And that's another thing is like just the discourse around the Odyssey in general, where people are like, well, I'm gonna watch Troy instead, or I'm gonna watch this. The cast of Troy isn't Greek either. like you're gonna watch a worse movie that first of all isn't even the Odyssey, not even close to the Odyssey, and you're gonna watch a cast of also non-Greeks and white people that still speak English, and it proves you got nothing really to say. And you want to talk about like the historical accuracy of the armor. Again, going back to this movie that you mentioned, they didn't use the same armor either. They didn't use the historically accurate one either. And no one would have wanted to watch it either. Because the thing about making movies is, first of all, historically accurate. The Odyssey is not real. The thing about movies is like, movies have got to be like appealing to the eye, So of course he's gonna take some civil liberties. Like that's, movies in the past have done that. People have not had an issue with it. Like if you would have watched, if he would have done what you claim to be historically accurate armor, it would have looked goofy. People would have made fun of it for that. Again, a lot of the controversy for this movie is manufactured nonsense that starts with questionable casting. And again, if you want to have an issue with the casting, that's fine. But don't create other controversies from that and claim that that's what it's all about. It's not. You're making up issues. And he goes on to talk about how like the movie, like, ignore the politics, ignore the controversies or whatever. Just focus on the film. Look, you can't even do that. You claim you do that now, post the film coming out, because it's a success and it's not what you claimed it would be. But every video leading up to it has been about the casting and the politics behind it. And even in the review itself, for both this and the Supergirl, he's super nitpicky about everything. And look, there's nothing wrong with critiquing it. Again, like I said, there are worthy critiques of everything. You can always critique anything. There's nothing, except for maybe Back to the Future, that is perfect, right? Nothing like that. But God, when you're super nitpicky about stuff, it means you were looking for an issue. And that's what it all comes down to with the big controversy around the Odyssey. It started with questionable casting, which in turn became, how do we dissect this movie and find every little issue with it? Because any issue that people claim to have with it, you can have with any other Odyssey or any other Homer adaptation, but no one seems to complain about those. And then he, after his review and after the facts and stuff, some of the stuff that I mentioned was in a 40, almost 50-minute video about the Odyssey. And yes, I sat through all of it, and I wish I had my time back, because that's really all it is. He mentions, I will say, credit where credit is due. He does mention how it made a lot of money. He's not coping about that. But the rest of it is like 50 minutes of coping and crying about a movie that he claims to dislike, but won't stop talking about it. How woke it is, and how bad it is for X, Y, and Z reasons, and just complaining about it. And he has an hour-long video about it. And so there's a lot of coping about it, just in general, by people who watch the guy. People who kind of are of the same mindset. And the Rotten Tomatoes score came out, which I don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes personally, that's the whole thing, but it's overwhelmingly positive amongst critics and audiences. Of course people go, the critic score is good, so it must be bad. Then the audience score came out and they're like, well, it must be rigged. Or they'll make up some excuse as to why it's high, and then they'll look at okay, here's the funny thing, right? So they claim that the scores are fake because of some stupid Reddit post that has no backing to it. So then these people show the Metacritic score. Metacritic, the site that doesn't moderate anything. The site that allows you to review bomb it, because it has happened many, 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 many times, and they don't do anything about it. Yeah, they're using that as a source. Why? Because the only source that has any sort of negative reviews. Letterboxd, overwhelmingly high. IMDb, overwhelmingly high. Rotten Tomatoes, overwhelmingly high. Cinema Score, overwhelmingly high. People haven't. So any bit of negativity they can have towards it, they'll take it and run with it and go, Metacritic says this, but it doesn't have anything going for it, because again, it's constantly review bombed and they do nothing about it. With Rotten Tomatoes, it is high, but it is because of its verified reviews, meaning they will only let you review it if you have proven that you've seen it. It's controversial because they'll be like, well, why can't anyone go on there and review it? Because it is to prevent review bombing. Because that's things people do. People like this who will cry and whine about a movie that they either haven't seen, or they're or they just haven't seen it. They're gonna go in there and give it a low score and be like, look guys, look how bad the movie did, or I hate the movie that I never saw. Because that's what most of the people do, is they claim it's trash, but then they'll never see it. And so they go in there and review bomb it. But Rotten Tomatoes is like, no, you got to prove that you've watched it so you can review it. I don't necessarily have an issue with that, and it's not me defending Rotten Tomatoes. I straight up said I don't care for them. I don't listen to them. I have my own stuff. I am on Letterboxd. I'm like a serial Letterboxd user. I just go there to keep track of the movies I watch, and I kind of give ratings because my friends are on there too. So I go on Letterboxd and IMDb and stuff, where people, real people exist on there, and they give legitimate scores. So, but I can go on and on about the discourse behind the Odyssey. That could be for a separate video. Right now I'm talking about this guy, because like I said before, in both when he's talking about both, it's not as simple as he's a rational person who's like, all right, I didn't like it, that's the end of it. No, he's got to keep going and going and going and going. And something about his Odyssey review, because I know I keep flip-flopping, just bear with me here. If the way he explains kind of his points and stuff, it comes off as intelligent, right? It comes off as he knows what he's talking about. He's very articulate about stuff, and that's just the way that's just in the way he talks. The way he talks kind of comes off as he's intelligent. He does research. He does blah 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 blah. Despite the fact that they're very very nitpicky, kind of mostly just stupid points that he makes. And it reminds me a lot of not to get political, but someone like Candace Owens, who can confidently say things and try to make points about something and try to sound smart about something, but you're kind of brain dead retarded about it. And he doubles down on a lot of what he says, and he won't. Which, I mean, I guess is noble to a fault, you know? It's like, I mean, cool, but it's like in the worst way possible because you won't admit when you're wrong, which is sort of something that he does. It's just weird to me that someone who doesn't like something would just keep making stuff, making content about it, and keep making videos about it, and keep bringing attention to something you didn't like. Like, he acts like he's exhausted, and it was just so bad, and I've never seen anything this bad before, and this movie was better than this, and this was really bad. But you keep talking about it. Like, if I talk about something being bad, it's because it's laughably bad, right? Like, it's he says that it's boring and it bores him and it's that bad. If something is boring and bad, you mention it and you move on. Like, I've complained about stuff and I've talked about things that I don't like or things that I thought were bad, maybe once or twice with like friends, because I'm getting my point across. Like, I talked to a friend of mine about the new Scary Movie. It was really bad. And I kind of brought up, well, this happened, and I explained why it was bad, but I haven't really talked about it since then, right? Because that's just it. I don't care that much. I'm not going to dwell on a bad movie that I think is awful and atrocious, and to keep talking about it, and keep talking about it, and keep talking about it, because I'm not coping about it, you know? But enough about all that, right? He copes, he talks about movies that he claims he doesn't like, blah, 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 blah. I've made my points on that. There's something, if you haven't noticed, about his thumbnails, right? Something off about them? Oh yeah, they're AI slop. That is right. Nerdrotic Gary, he uses AI slop to make his thumbnails. And so he could care about the art. He could either make the thumbnail himself or hire someone to do it. But no, he'd rather use AI slop to make these ugly, just out there, makes people look bad thumbnails that intentionally trying to make people look bad because it makes him feel better about himself, and it sticks it to the, he can stick it to the wokes out there. But it looks bad. Everything AI art related looks ugly and bad. Like, I make my own thumbnails, right? Are they always good? No. Many of them are not very good because I don't have that sort of artistic ability to do something like that. I work with kind of what I have, but I'm honest about that, right? I don't have that ability. I don't have the artistic ability to make like the best thumbnails, but I'm also not lying about it either. I'm not like, well, I'm not an artist, but I had AI do it, so it's pretty close enough. No, I admit I'm not the best at it. I'm not very good at it, and I accept that. Where I'm not going to use AI to do better than me, because quite frankly, it won't, it's AI. I'm going to have to do that myself. I'm going to have to improve myself, because that's how life works. If you want to get good at something, don't have a machine do it. If you want to be good at something, do it yourself, and if you're just not good at it, you're just not built for that. Which, that's for another day, talking about AI. Back to this. I was curious about kind of his views on AI in creative fields, and I found a video.
I think it's a tool. It's an artistic tool that, if embraced properly by talented people, it will advance comic books. It will, and it depends on the customer. It will advance video games for sure, and special effects. Those a lot of people are about to lose their jobs. Lot of devs. A lot of CG animators are about to lose their jobs overnight. I'd say within the next 3 to 5 years, those jobs will be completely gutted because you won't need them. You won't need as many. And more importantly, you and I can use this stuff. And if you have any artistic talent, you can start making your own anime, your own cartoon. You could do whatever. So it opens the door and it busts down all the barriers and it busts down all the gates. That's why Hollywood was freaking out. They were just trying to prolong the inevitable. I would say I'm more of a fan of it when it comes to, like, if you're going to do CG and build a world and effects, I'm fine with it. As far as writing is concerned, that's where I'm going to have my hard line. It's like, it's got to be a human because.
Yep, that is right. Gary is okay with AI in filmmaking just as long as it's for CGI and nothing else. If you want to use it for art, that's totally okay, but the minute you start writing with it, that becomes an issue. Like that, what kind of nuts are you on? Use it for CGI? Use it for to make animation or something? No, that's. What are you talking about? That, like, people are still artists. This, like, much like how you want people to write. You need people to write. You need people to animate. You need people to make CGI. Is CGI perfect? No. Is CGI as good as it was a year, 2, 3 years ago? I would say no. It's probably not getting better. Probably getting worse in some areas. I think it has a lot to do with, animators not really being treated fairly, as many of them have come out and said. But having AI try to replace that, don't do that. It won't work. It's disgusting. He says that the reason you can't have AI write is because there's heart in art. That was not intended to be a pun. There is heart in creating art, for whether it be CGI or anime or animations, as he mentioned. There is art, there is care, there is time put into this stuff, into human-made things, right? And even if you allow that, even if you allow AI to do CGI or AI to do animation, that's a slippery slope. It's going to start there. Where's it going to end? Where does it end? Yeah, you can start with CGI and, this thing animated this thing did CGI for this, but where does it end? You're going to end up with, AI writing. That's where it's going to end up. And as some people are even trying with that, it's never good. Again, I'll save the CGI talk because I have so many opinions on that. But you allow one thing, it's going to lead to something else. And that's what people are really pushing against having AI in the film industry. But Gary's okay with it because, why not? And, for someone who is big on, pushing against, the mainstream culture and going against the man and the big wigs or whatever of the film industry, you seem to be really taking their side when it comes to AI in filmmaking. Interesting how that works.
I've used Gemini and I've used Chat GPT just for a joke.
Yeah, that tracks. And the irony of it is, there's a video where he addresses people AIing his voice and making him say things that he doesn't agree with, that stuff he would never really say. And when people ask for his response to it, he just goes, I don't like it, but what are you going to do?
Cloning my voice and having me say things that I haven't said is a bit of a problem. And there is a way to fight it. I just don't know if I'm going to. Now, if it was, I think it's a matter of just time. If somebody AIs my voice for some other thing, and it pushes us off as a joke, I don't care. I don't care. And it's short. Entire videos, yeah, it's a conundrum. I'm going to give it a think. There is a way I could fight it, but it's the future. Nothing we can do about it.
And it's such a brain dead take. This guy clearly doesn't want to speak against AI because he's clearly okay with it, right? He uses it for his slop, so he's clearly okay with it. And so, what are you gonna do if someone, when this sort of thing happens? He could, if he were logical, just go, no, don't do that. And because he clearly wants to, he clearly is against it, but his pro AI, pro clanker self is just no, nothing to do about it. And he has the same BS excuses that all the other pro AI idiots out there that's just it's the future, nothing you can do about it, it's the future. It's it's not, because thankfully the younger generation is pushing back against AI because AI is disgusting and awful and not good to use. But of course he can't say that because he's pro AI. He's pro AI in creative fields and making slop with it. So another thing that he does in this video is the very beginning. Again, he's coping so hard. The cope is insane.
Has everybody given their thanks to Nolan? Everybody, before you eat, make sure to honor Christopher Nolan and the bread that's on your table, the wine you'll be drinking, the air you breathe is all thanks to Christopher Nolan. Our Nolan who art in Hollywood, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in 70 millimeter as it is in IMAX. Forgive those who trespass against you, for they know not what they do. As a matter of fact, damn them all to hell, because they don't know how actually good you are as a filmmaker. And if they ever go up against you, you're just a chud, a simpleton, and you're not a cinephile who understands cinema.
The very beginning, he's doing mocking Christianity and mocking the Lord's Prayer, which if you're a Christian, you watch his content, what do you say about that? It's not joke. He's legitimately mocking us. So you're a douchebag, a major douchebag for that. and he's trying to like mock the Nolan lovers or whatever, but it comes off as nothing but petty. It comes off as petty, nothing more than that. And it's clear this dude's coping over a successful movie that he didn't want to be successful, but I think even he knew he was going to be successful. What was he going to do, admit fault? Pfft, who would do such a thing? But yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. This is a dude that's weird. He makes slop content about stuff that he claims to not like, which who does that genuinely? Who like... Again, it's not simply he doesn't like it, he's making videos. It's the non-stop content about it. He talks about it constantly, non-stop, and that's all he does. And it doesn't, it's like, I don't know, it gets to a point. Pro AI slop. If you are pro AI in filmmaking, you have legitimately no right to even be a film critic. You have no right to be a film critic. If you're going to be like, well, I'm okay with AI in filmmaking, but for blah, blah, blah reasons. No. You have zero right, and none of your opinions even matter anymore. Simple as that.